Hello, hello, everyone. What is up? Hello. Ooh. All right. We should be live now. Maybe you had a little too much coffee. That is okay, Peter. You can always have all the coffee. There is nothing wrong with having too much coffee whatsoever. Hopefully the lag isn't that bad. I think in theory the lag on Ecamm is supposed to be way less than like with YouTube than it is on Twitch. So we're gonna try that out. I don't have any chat commands whatsoever for here, except for maybe exclamation mark working. So this is gonna be an interesting stream because I like to link to all the things. But with that being said, hello, welcome. If this is your first time like watching anything here, I am no lag here. Awesome. Maybe it's just there we go. Cool. Sweet. Yeah, so just a little bit spiel about me before we hop into things and figure out what I'm doing and all that stuff. I'm Jay. I am a software engineer, an iOS developer specifically. Actually, I think my title is actually an iOS developer. I work at a small startup right now. We do everything SwiftUI, core data, really like diving headfirst into what it means to kind of utilize like Apple first platforms and stuff like that. And then on top of that, I also like to do Swift development and such in my free time. So here we are, my free time of building something. So I'm either here or I'm on Twitch. I've been on Twitch a lot more than I have been on YouTube. So this is one of the first streams on YouTube for a while. Yeah, YouTube live stream. Definitely doing something different here. Jay is an iOS genius. Don't believe anything less. And a great. Oh, thanks, Peter. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, trying YouTube because my plan is that this will become a series every Friday. At around the same time every week, most Fridays, I should say, because I already know there's going to be like the end of March. I won't be home, so we won't be doing a live stream because I won't be home. That kind of stuff. So yeah, so YouTube live streaming it. Usually I'm on Twitch. Usually I also don't know how to take really good compliments. So thank you, Peter, again. I appreciate it. Usually I'm on Twitch doing like iHug work, but like I said, this goal here is every Friday on YouTube, every Friday around this time, we're going to be working on this app idea I've been having for quite a while now and just haven't spent time actually working with. So with that being said, what are we building today? Today we're building like a project task manager, basically, but that's going to be geared towards like working in public. So I started this on Twitch, so there's already a little bit of a basis of it. I'll put a link at some point in here in the comments. I'll put a link in the description box since we're on YouTube to the YouTube. I'll publish the video on YouTube, and I'll put the link in the YouTube video of the previous one where we got a lot of this working. But with that being said, we are going to be working with where it's a task tracker, project tracker for apps and people that like to work in public. I was running into some GitHub issues. I don't really like GitHub for task tracking. I don't really like GitHub for project planning either. And I do quite a lot of it in GitHub for like the day job and stuff. So like, I've just realized I'm not the biggest fan of using GitHub for that kind of stuff. So there are other tools like Jira and Linear and such that you can do this in, but then it makes it really hard for it to be on the public side at that point to like share with users and let users actually see what's being worked on and stuff like that. And then you get to like custom things. So like I could technically do a what could I do? I could technically do a public Notion page, which I'll have a public Notion page for this. So there'll be a link in the description box for that soon. At the end of this, hopefully. End of this today. And like, and then I'm building everything again, like custom with Notion, basically just building a Linear or something like that. So like, but then there's not, I don't know, there's something about a Notion page that just doesn't feel right either. So here comes me with like an app idea that's like, I want to be able to do it I want to be able to put my tasks and manage everything from a custom Mac app. And then also I wanted to be able to dabble in Vapor. So we're going to do a Vapor backend for it. And that's going to be holding a Postgres database as the goal through everything. So that's what we're doing today. Yeah, great idea. Scheduled time for personal projects. Oh, 100%. That is the only way any kind of personal project gets done. And if I do it in public, then I have public pressure of getting it done, to be honest. Like, then every week, like people, maybe, hopefully, people are like, hey, what are you doing this week? Like, where's your progress? Or like they will ask or something like that. And so here we are. That is also the goal. I like public pressure a lot for things like this. Hopefully it actually plays out. I've tried doing this in the past, but I really want this one. I say this every time with a project. I really want this one to go forward. I've had this one kicking around, like the idea for this kicking around for a while now, for for like a year or so, I think. Just so that it's easy, just so that like, I don't know. It's been a pet project of mine that I want to build, so why not? Let's do it. Everyone builds a to-do app, right? I've yet to actually build a full-on to-do app, so basically we're just kicking it up a notch. Let's chat a little bit more about this as well, though, before I get going, before we start like opening Xcode and stuff. Let me clear out my stuff here. Hold on. I gotta change terminals real quick. Once you put it on the internet, it's real. 100%, Peter. You are totally right. Once you do it on the internet, there's no going back. Like, people can find it. So that means you can also find all of my old projects that are half finished, especially if you go to my GitHub. Yeah, you'll find a lot of half finished projects there because I get distracted quite easily, which is not a bad thing. It just means nothing gets done, but then I get to go scratch other itches. Cool. So let's just hop in real quick and kind of like how I'm thinking stuff is going to be structured, because I've been trying to do this around, like, I used Apple's freeform app to kind of sketch out what I was thinking. So it basically starts with like a project, which is what you're working on. And then projects have different versions, you know, like releases and stuff like that. So versions might not be the right word here, but that's what I'm going with. Description, social links, stuff like that, because like ultimately what the user gets at the end of the day is they get a URL that they can share out to their following or people that are interested and be able to like kind of view like the status and stuff. So ultimately got to have all of this to put a nice little web page together. So in theory, what this actually enables is whenever I have another app, I could in theory throw everything in here, and this could just spin up my app's website that's like required for Apple basically to release the app with. Then there's like the to-do items and then the versioning. Right now, we're not going to deal with any kind of like project sharing, like you want to add people to the project and stuff like that. We're actually going to keep this I'm going to attempt to keep this quite small in scope. So obviously there has to be some kind of like authentication in this, because we need to be able to keep projects editable by their own person, basically. So like there has to be some kind of authentication. I at some point was looking at auth0, so we'll see some of that stuff in my Xcode. But I also like am okay rolling my own if I need, not rolling my own, but like using like sign in with Apple, or if I wanted to use like Google or something like that, like we could do something. I felt like auth0 was a good off the shelf, but I have to then figure out how to integrate it with Vapor. But yeah, so that's basically the idea. We're not going to do much more than that right now. Just being able to have a project, add to-do items, and then basically be able to complete to-do items. That's like the first thing. And then we'll add in versioning and stuff like that to it, like different versions and such. Trying to make it like manageable. I then need to put it into a task tracker because I need a task tracker while I do this, but you know, baby steps, right? So today, like I said, I did work on this already. actually. So like I've already started a little bit on the app. Let me see if I can get some stuff open for us. And I can walk through like what's really going on inside the Vapor side of things. So we have, here you go. And let me run the server. How do I run the server? That is a great question. These are things that I don't remember how to do. But we'll figure it out. Server. Hello. Hope you're doing good. You want to start to become an iOS developer, but you don't know which one to choose between, UIKit or SwiftUI. What do I recommend you choosing? I definitely don't recommend choosing both. I definitely recommend choosing one or the other, to be honest. Like, you want to stick with UIKit or with SwiftUI. I guess the question is, how quickly do you actually need a job as well? Just smile. Like, if you need a job really quickly, like, go the UIKit route. You're not gonna be like, you will find jobs for sure with the UIKit route. If you're okay just building apps for yourself, or like you have some time that you want to find a job, like, go the SwiftUI route. That is the future. Like, you'll run it. Places are starting to integrate SwiftUI, but it's really hard to find like SwiftUI only jobs. Indie developers are saying SwiftUI is now just right for building an app. So companies are a little bit more slower, stuff like that. So it's honestly which one, like, do you need a job? If so, go the UIKit route. If you don't need a job and you're just kind of doing it for fun, I would just go the SwiftUI route right off the back. Like, you can get a really good app with SwiftUI. All of my apps that I've built are in SwiftUI, and I very seldomly jump to UIKit unless there's absolutely something I cannot do. Hopefully that gives like a small answer there. Once I need to turn on one more light and then we'll get started. Can you do both? You definitely can do both. Sean Allen has a really good YouTube video on why you shouldn't do both though. So like, I honestly also recommend not doing both, because you want to focus on, wow, now it's really bright. You want to be able to focus on something. So like, if you are trying to do both and they're two very different paradigms of thinking. So it's going to take a really big mental model to jump back and forth between the two. So that's why I always suggest like pick one and stick with it. Like I said, Sean Allen has a really good, like, I think it's like a short YouTube video on it. Let's see if we can find it real quick. SwiftUI versus UIKit. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just say, like, you want to do what you can. Yeah, if your goal is to literally find a job as quickly as possible, I think UIKit's the way to go. If you're just trying to build apps to say you can build apps, like, that's what I was starting to do it with. Starting like in Swift with is like, I just wanted to be able to build apps because I wanted an app on the App Store. Like, that was my goal. I didn't really jive. I really didn't fit well with SwiftUI, so I went with the UIKit. I didn't fit well with the UIKit, so I went the SwiftUI route, and it's worked out. But like, I've never held, I didn't get my first iOS developer position until this year. And I started learning like Swift and SwiftUI. I started learning Swift around 2017 to 2018, and then really jumped in more to like being more like, oh yeah, this can actually work once SwiftUI was released in 2019. So it's been about a 3-ish year gap of like not being able to do jobs because I didn't know the UIKit route. And to be honest, like, because I was just doing it for fun, I didn't want to learn it at the same time, because this is where Apple was going, was SwiftUI. So I figured I would hit there eventually, basically. But this is a really good video explaining why you don't want to learn both and why you should just pick one and go with it. But yeah, so I highly recommend that video. Cool. So let's run the app. It looks like once I change the server here, and we're just this isn't the app. This is like the server side code. So there isn't really a UI to it, but I'm gonna run it, and then we can I'm gonna run it, and then we can work on and then we can see if there's anything else that I need to do in the back end, because I feel like I don't want to start from scratch since I already have stuff here. But it's building, so let's just wait and see. Yeah, so like I said, my background isn't in iOS development. I'm relatively new to the iOS developer game. Like, I've been here for like 3 or 4 years now. My background isn't in development really at all until like my first tech job was like a year ago or a year and a half ago or something like that. So this is all been fun learning at the end, to be honest. Cool. So this is compiling though, and I'm really bad at filling dead space while we're waiting for things. And oh, there's an error. Oh, I don't have. Okay, so part of running this app is you have to have a Docker. You have to have Docker. So part of Vapor is you have to have Docker, just because everything's really declared in that Docker file. Which you will see me do all of this, I believe, in that video that I said I'm going to link in the description. But basically, when you start a Vapor project, they give you this Docker file, so you don't have to write any of this from scratch, which is great. And it gets all set up with whatever database you specify as you're running through the installer for Vapor. So now we can start the Docker container. I believe, maybe not. Start. There we go. So now we're running. We have the database running. So let's try now. I think that was probably it, because it looks like there was a connection error to my Postgres server. And with that, I'm also going to open up this app called Table Plus that I have for checking Postgres databases and stuff like that. Cool. Now let's try running it. It shouldn't take nearly as long now that it's built everything. Cool. So we can see we have a server here. Because it is just Vapor and it's a web server, what we can do is there's these routes. So if I go to the website, so that it's localhost /hello, we should see hello world there, I believe. So let's just try that real quick, make sure we're working. Yeah, hello world. There we are. So we are working. Vapor is up and going, which is great. And you can see that as I request info, we get the info in the terminal. And so like whenever I hit refresh, it tried to get the /hello. If I do here, it says hello Vapor, because that is the route for this. So it's basically what Vapor is, I guess I just said I wanted to use it. I didn't explain what it was. Vapor is a server-side framework written in Swift. It allows you to do all the normal things you would do with like a backend. So, you know, generate web pages, run databases, stuff like that, but all written in Swift, which is really nice as a person who really enjoys Swift, because I do. I really enjoy writing Swift. I think it's a fun language to be in. So that's what's going on here. Yeah. So just like a overview of how this project's structured And it doesn't have to be structured. This is just how I've chosen based on like tutorials and watching videos. I've never done any like formal backend programming, so this has just been what I've picked up from watching other people. So basically the server-side app, the server app starts in main, and it's all declared as a Swift package here. So if you go to main, we import the app, import Vapor, the environment, so to determine if we're in a public or debug environment, it runs the app, and then from there you're kind of like just inside the app. So this is all inside the application. Let's see, hold on, I'm trying to explain because I didn't do this all at the beginning. So run app.run import app. So we're importing another package here, another library. So this app here, and you can see inside the Swift package file, we have the different targets. So there's app, there's the executable target run, which is what runs when I hit Swift run. And then there's the test target. So it's set up just like any other Swift package, to be honest. So inside here, we go into, I believe it's configure first, basically. And this configures your database, your migrations, if you need to create like tables and stuff like that. And then if you're going to use anything else inside the app that Vapor provides, like Leaf is a templating service that is a web page generator that ships with Vapor. So basically here I'm declaring 3 migrations that create tables, and then this here, app.migrations that add status, add description, actually adjusts the status table. So if we go check out, oh, that doesn't look fun. Why did that happen? I don't quite know what's going on there. Interesting. Okay. If we go look inside my like Postgres inspector, as I'm going to call it, we have 4 tables here of fluent migration, which just keeps track of like how the tables have progressed, and then the actual tables themselves. So we have the projects database, which is going to hold all the projects for the users. So they get a unique ID, the title, a description, and a status ID. So what is the status of the project? In my mind, you could have a project that is not quite complete. Then we have the status here for the different like actual statuses. So like an in progress status, a to-do status, a done status, that kind of stuff. And then we have the actual like to-do table. So the tasks, so the title, the description, orders, what, can we, no, go away. What status they go, what status does the to-do receive, and what project does the to-do belong to? So as you can see that this to-do table is kind of like basic right now, as to like what it does. It could increase, it could decrease, it could stay about the same. It's probably going to increase with the number of like columns just to give it more info. But yeah, so all of this is done through these migrations. And just to walk through like what the to-do table looks like, is it basically is going to create a to-do. So this migration creates a to-do database following the schema that is to-do. So that is like where I just kind of specify, not that, this, nope, hold on, I promise like this makes sense at some point. Models, there we go, to do. So the model and the content, so the model to do specifies what all the columns are inside the Postgres database, from what I understand. We have the field keys and the ID keys. Also, if you have timestamps, stuff like that. And then you specify what fields you need to create in that migration, and then you create them, and it's done. So like we can also see in like the create status, there's actually 2 migrations in here. So we have the first one that creates the table, And then afterwards, I was like, ooh, actually, I could see a case that we need to have a description field for the statuses. So there was the status, the add description that gives it another field, another column to get that description column. So yeah, this is the basics of how it's done. I have a couple like helper functions in here, a couple helper files in here. So like a schema, so that I don't have to rely on strings as much. And same with these enums for some codable, again, not relying on strings as much. And I also have one in here for field keys that let me specify a field key, again, just so I don't have to specify the string. I can let Xcode do the hard part for me, and so I can be like title, and it'll just pull in this field key when I need it. Yeah, was it hard to learn iOS development, and how much did it take to learn? I wouldn't say it was necessarily hard. It's just, I think it just depends if you have a previous experience with development. To be honest, like, it just takes time and it takes effort, just like learning any other new thing. And then how much time did it take? It took me, I don't know, I probably had my first app like created by in 6 months. Was it the best it could be? No, but like it was doable. It was usable, and it was using UI kit. It was fine. It used storyboards. It wasn't programmable UI. I don't know. It's very basic, but like the learning doesn't stop. So once you just like get the basics down, it allows you to. So once you get the basics down of of iOS development, I would say like the learning honestly just doesn't stop. You kind of always keep learning. But feeling comfortable enough to like be at a job level took me about probably like a year or a year and a half, to be honest, to say, hey, I can start applying to jobs now. Like I feel comfy there. Just because like I was only learning in part-time. I was trying to do it while going to work. I mean, my work was pretty demanding. I also kept up the social life. Like I stayed like a normal person while learning this stuff. But it's definitely easier to do it in a shorter amount of time if you just do that quickly. Hey, Anthony, what's up? How's it going? Hello, hello. But yeah, so that like how much time did it take to learn? Honestly, like forever, because you just keep going. Like it's really hard to say like how long it's gonna take. I would, if you're looking for somewhere to learn from, I highly recommend the 100 Days of Swift course on hacking with Swift. 100 Days of Swift is 100 days of coding with Swift. And the projects are all UI kit based. There's also 100 Days of SwiftUI, and the projects are all SwiftUI based. By like day 25 in both, I felt dangerous enough to be I felt dangerous enough to go to start doing things. So that's like what happened there. Like I basically stopped learning. I stopped following the courses at like day 26 and just started doing my own stuff after that. You really like the Apple ecosystem and found Swift elegant language, but do you see iOS development niche? Lots of people advise me to go the web. I mean, it honestly just depends on your goal. Like, I love the Apple ecosystem. I really like programming in Swift. I like type safety. I would prefer to never program in the web again, like as much as possible. Like I've done it. I have built web apps. I built a basic web app for a client that I'm now like having another person take over because I didn't do the best job, because I know I don't like it and I know I don't do the best job, because that's not what I focus on. What I focus on, I program what I like. So I like building apps. I like programming in Swift, and that's what I do. At my last job, I did web development because that's what paid the bills. Like the cool thing about development in general is like, once you kind of know a language, and you know some patterns, you can probably go build what you want. And and what you need and what you want to do, it might take a little time. It might not work correct. It might not work correct at the beginning, but you can get there. You know the basics. So once you learn the basics, you can kind of like do both. But I would definitely say, like, I am one that is like, hey, I really like this, so I want to do this. I really like Swift development, so that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, so that's the case. That's like, I don't know. It's a hard case to choose. Like, say which one's better, which one like to choose. But I think it honestly just depends on what you want to go for. But yes, iOS development is very niche, especially if you do native iOS development. That's even more niche, I feel like. Like, you have the people who program in Flutter, you have the people who do React Native. I'm sure there's other cross-platform app development tools. I don't like them. I haven't wanted to learn them. I just stay away from them. It does not hurt me in my professional life yet. It has not hurt me in my like learning. I do not feel like I'm missing anything by not learning Flutter, basically, or not even like keeping up to date with the web stuff as much as possible. Peter's 2 cents: when you are enjoying the process of learning, you stop noticing how long it takes. 100%. Yeah. You don't really notice how long it takes. Like, I know the years and I know the dates because I have a lot of like, because I've kept up with those personally. But if someone were to ask you how long it took me to like feel job ready, like, I'm ready with those dates, but like, it's honestly just a confidence level. Like, I probably could have honestly been in a UI kit situation, and because my confidence level is super high, like, I could figure it out. Like, it's Swift programming at the end of the day. I could probably be a good contributor in a little bit. So, but yeah, it's honestly all confidence level based also. And if you're doing what you enjoy, if you're learning what you enjoy, then yeah, your confidence level also skyrockets, like 100%. Like, I've noticed even in my, I'm going to stop because apparently I'm not going to focus on that. So yeah, like Anthony said, do what you enjoy the most, and kind of combining this with Peter about like confidence levels. I've noticed in my last job was web dev. I was really iffy because it was like, yeah, I can do it. And if that's the only way I get to actually be like a true developer, I'll do web dev. That's fine. But my confidence was like down here. In my new job where I'm doing like SwiftUI, core data, Swift, like 100% of the time, my confidence level is way up here now because like, it's what I know, it's what I like, it's what I enjoy. Like, because I've been able to do what I enjoy now, like, my confidence level is so much higher. But yes, I work a 9 to 5. I do an 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays we have off. I have a super awesome work schedule. So Monday through Thursday I work 8 to 5, and then Fridays I have off and I do this or client work or whatever. Basically, I still work Monday through Friday basically, but like the day job, I do have a day job. I don't get to work fully on my apps yet. That would be a nice goal at some point. If I can get this app into the state that I want it to be in, I think this could be a really nice app. But yeah. What apps or features do I like building the most? Stuff that I use. This probably isn't a very helpful answer, but stuff that I enjoy using is stuff that I like building the most. Also, I've really found like stuff that benefits other people. Yeah, I really, really like building stuff that benefits other people. So like, my current job is like, we're in the mental health space, and it just feels really fulfilling to work in that space. Yes, it is. A day job in SwiftUI is there. It's hard to get, but they're popping up more and more. I think I've applied I've applied to I had applied to 3, including my current job, and I got this job. So yeah, it's possible. It's just hard to find sometimes. So it looks like where I left off here is trying to build in the user model, it looks like. And I definitely did not do the migration there. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm gonna like gear a little bit back towards here, but like feel free, keep asking questions. If I wanted to work dedicated like time on here, I wouldn't stream, is what I like to say. Sweet. Cool. I'm just making sure that like this is working. Oh, nice, Peter. You've hired people purely for like SwiftUI. That's awesome. Oh yeah, definitely. Believe it or not, actually there's quite a few streamers in the community, like just not on YouTube, I think. So on YouTube you have Avars, right? You have Avars. Yeah, Avars mate. I don't know how to say his last name, to be honest. He streams app development sometimes on YouTube. Peter Whittam in the chat, he does streaming on Twitch. There's Netterfi. There's a whole slew of us on Twitch. Netterfi is one on Twitch as well. And then also another good one to check out is why can I not spell Michaela? I cannot spell the name. Michaela Karen as well. He is, I mean, wow. Ooh. Michaela, it's because I'm looking over here. Michaela's an awesome, she's a great streamer, YouTuber as well. Super awesome. Knows a lot about Vapor also, and like the UI kit side of things. So like definitely recommend. And yeah, there's a good community, I think, going on. It's just like it's hard to find sometimes. Like you get, especially for live streams on YouTube. Oh, nice. I know she won't ever forgive me. But yeah, there's a lot of us in the Twitch side as well. I have a slew of people that I recommend, but the chats aren't set up. So let's do Twitch.tv. Full queue developer is pretty cool. Sometimes they work on SwiftUI, Swift apps. Monster B, Coco Type. Is that all I suggest, really? I need to like figure out more suggested channels. But yeah, there's a slew. If you find us on Twitch, we all like link to each other, so that would probably be the best way. You can also join a super good Discord for us. Peter, I don't have the link currently, but if you drop the link, I think you can drop the link. I'm almost positive. I actually don't know if you can, so hold on. If you're into Discord, highly recommend this Discord server. Chat, dev Discord. Let me see if I can grab it. There we go. Copy. Paste. Yeah, I don't know if did it actually drop the link? Ooh, I don't think it did drop the link. But yeah, this Discord server here that I just dropped the link for sure, has a lot of us in it. And yeah, we all like to help each other. We all like to hype each other up. So feel free to join. Feel free to ask questions. We are more than happy to answer. Oh, cool. Awesome. Sweet. So with that being said, though, let's hop in a bit back into this, so I can kind of figure out where I was, to be honest, because I don't. So I need to set up another user table, and I guess I was trying to figure out how to get it integrated with Auth0. So if you're not familiar with Auth0, starting a new project is always fun on stream because there's a lot of talking that goes into it as well. Did I just sign up with GitHub? I probably did, right? Maybe I didn't. Oh. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I am. I am using Postgres for this. Yes. You are correct. It's a Postgres database. That's how I set up Vapor. So when you run through Vapor, Vapor comes with a few support with a few drivers right off the bat. Postgres is the main one, and it's the recommended one, so that's the one I go with. But there's also SQLite, MySQL, and then you can also hook into MongoDB. I personally, like I said, it was recommended to use Postgres, so that's what I went with. Yeah. That is the only reason I went with it, though. Like, was because it was just the recommended one, because I have no idea what I'm choosing. Usually for my databases, I stick with either Firebase or Core Data / CloudKit in the background, and I'm trying, this is a whole new app of something new. But like I said, so we're trying to get, what is it? We're trying to do, what are we trying to do? We are trying to get authentication working. So security, authentication. Like I said, I was gonna do Auth0, which is a very nifty app, like handy app, like it can handle all the database stuff and stuff like that. My issue is there's not a lot of info like around how to kind of sync the two, which I guess if Auth0, since it's just API based, like we can't sync the two that way. But I'm not sure if that's actually the way I want to go. I guess like there's so much more that could happen before authentication, but I feel like I should have that in place first. Because like even if I do their docs, which isn't, it's helpful, but it's not the easiest. Because there's not like a Swift SDK. There's like a iOS SDK, I believe. But there's not like a Vapor or something like that. But there is a mobile app. So I wonder if that would be the closest. But you can't just import mobile apps, like app stuff to like server side things. That's where things get weird. Because like sometimes they rely purely on like info on your Mac or from the phone, like not info, but like library dedicated things. So I don't quite know yet. And like you have to have a plist bundle. Oh, but it looks like you could do it programmatically. So head to the Auth0 dashboard, create your native Node app. Needs a client ID and domain of the application to communicate. You can find these details in the settings page. You can use a custom domain if wanted. But do you have to have the plist? Oh, that's only if you want to. For the authentication. I wonder if you don't have to. Like, I wonder if I could, in theory, run it from here? Like, use the Swift, SDK? But I would assume that I could also use... Well, I don't really want to go, like, raw into it. Because I feel like that's a lot to manage. I'm also trying to do this fine balance of, like, management, of, like, my own personal management versus, like, letting someone else do it. So, like, if Auth0 can manage all of my, like, authentication pretty quickly and manage, like, users, and that's one less thing I have to worry about necessarily. So, like, setting up, like, like password requirements and stuff like that. Like, I think that's pretty easy to do in Auth0, but like, I don't want it to be super hard, if that makes sense at the same time for me to do. Regular app. SDKs. Well, I would want an API, I guess, basically. Typically, you should consume this API through one of Auth0's SDKs, such as auth0.js. What's lock? However, if you are building your authentication UI manually, you will need to call the authentication API directly. So I guess that could just work via, like, I could store the Auth0 like token, I guess. I don't know how this works. I don't know the right way to do authentication. But let's see. Swift Vapor authentication. If I just Google authentication, what comes up? So API provides support for authenticating a user via the authorization header. It also supports authenticating a user via the data decoded from the content API. This is where, like, I did put on my Mastodon post that, like, I don't know what I'm doing, and this is part of it. Like, I straight up am just, like, trying to figure it out. Basic authentication sends a username and password in the authorization header. The username and password are concatenated with a colon with basic. Always use password hashes for comparison. I mean, that makes sense. I also wonder if, like, I don't need authentication right off the back. Like, I feel like that's just really, like, pushing forward to stuff that I don't completely need yet. Like, especially when it's just me, and then we can add in, like, logic later to do that. I think that's probably the way to go. And not worry about authentication first. So with that said, let's actually do that. Let's get rid of it. Let's do it. I don't quite know what I was doing visibility for. But, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was a fun one. I need to go back and, like, fix some things with it, but that was a good one. I really enjoyed it. Let's get rid of this. I don't need a user. That's a lie. I'm sure I was trying to think of something to do with visibility. I'm sure it was, like, the to-do item visibility. So, like, whether you wanted to show it or not, that would make sense. That was. So let's do... case public, case visible. Let's be explicit. Visible to all. What app am I working on? Yeah, I'm making a brand new app. It's like a work in public style app. I think if we do this, whoops, let me try again. Working. It's like a task tracker for working in public, basically. I don't know if that actually popped up with anything. I think it should. Or not. Or Stream Elements is just not gonna do what I wanted it to do. And that's fine. Yeah, so it's a brand new app that I'm building. I'm working on making it basically a project tracker app, to be honest. That's exactly what it is. Am I from the US? Yes, I am. I'm a United States. I am from the United States. I live in Texas. It's fine. Visible to all. What would we call, like, local only, like project only, like hidden? Not hidden. Like it's not visible to the public. It's only visible to me. I guess a private. project private, because you can't use like reserved words, right? Like I can't do like private. Yeah. Project owner, project member, visible to project member. That seems like let's do this. Visibility dot to all. So all project member. That makes sense to me. Project members, in case we ever get past the 1, and then user. How do I see the demand for iOS devs and the future of iOS development? That's a really good question. The demand for iOS developers are definitely there. I definitely see it. People are coming up with app ideas. Like I have a guy that's contracting me for building him an iOS app. I like just one person. It's not even a company. I have the job. There's tons of jobs out there for iOS developers. I don't think the platform's going away anytime soon. And I think we'll only see more development on the Swift language. So even if you're an iOS developer, like specifically, like it doesn't mean you can't do other things. So like, yes, I am an iOS developer, but I'm still like, I can program with Swift. Like I am using the Swift language. So like, I'm technically a Swift developer at the end of it. If you really like, if you really start learning like how like projects are structured and how projects can be built, you can start being more of like a general developer with some focuses, I guess I would say. So like I have a really strong focus in iOS because I'm like really into that SwiftUI world, but like it takes me no time to build like a macOS app using SwiftUI, if I really wanted to. But like, I don't know. I think there's a strong future for iOS development. I don't see the iPhone going away anytime soon. Just as I don't see like the iPad going away anytime soon also. Like, I think we're kind of like all in this state of like, we're just waiting for Apple to release the next thing that replaces these things, but I don't see them going away for the next like at least 5 years, probably even longer, to be honest. Okay, so we have all project members and users. We don't need a user right now. We're gonna delete this as well. Tim will be glad to hear that. I know, because Tim just wants to keep the same like projects and product lines together and such. Like, I understand. Okay, so this creates, these are the routes to create a to-do. Makes sense. So let's put the visibility in here. So like, so that's a project. We'll do a field. But yeah, I have a strong faith that if you were to learn iOS development right now, it would not go anywhere. I don't have a field key for it. And we definitely don't need to do this part. Oh, is public. That's what that was gonna be. But it probably shouldn't be as public. Is that called anywhere? Visibility. Yeah. There we go. Dot visibility var visibility, and then I don't feel like visibility actually needs to be I don't think visibility actually needs to be a enum that's declared here. No, well, I guess the question is like, I have these visibility enums, they don't really need to be like they need to. So let me get it out first. I have a really hard time of like thinking while I'm talking. So we have the visibility enum, right? This needs to be assigned to everything that's made. So if you make a new to-do, what's its visibility? Which I might be thinking too far ahead on this. So like the visibility like is an enum that gets populated, but it's only one of those choices. Like you can't make a custom visibility. At least I'm not thinking you can right now. So I don't want to make a whole new table for it, basically. I think this will be okay, because if I say assign a visibility, I think we can figure this out. I think it's supposed to be like it is. I don't know. And if it's not, we'll figure something out. And we'll make it, it's not optional. Is this possible to do like a self dot visibility equals, self dot visibility equals dot all. So by default, everything is public. That makes sense to me. And now because I added this field, I need to actually run a migration or create a migration for this. So let's do this. We need to make a new migration. I could either make a migration or just completely make a new table, like a new database. Visibility. We're gonna call it an async migration. Database async throws. We'll try await database dot schema. And let me make sure I'm going to do this right. I think it was status that I've done. So I just need to add the field that I want and then call update. Okay. So then we can do dot field visibility, right? Yep. Oh, that's cool. So we can just say .enum and then database schema data type .enum. Is that right? Is that what I want to do? Let's see. I think I did this with statuses. So status equivalent string. Oh, hold on. Let's go back. Hold up. Wait a minute, y'all. So we have the status equivalent, which is a string and a codable in progress completed. Oh, so then this would go to that. It would basically convert over, I think. Hold on. This is me trying to remember why I did things this way. So in status, in my model, we have, there's a special @enum. So in to do, we'll do an @enum. Visibility var visibility. Cool. And that way, again, you stay away from using strings basically as much as possible. And then inside visibility, it's still string and codable, so they should all match still. Okay. So inside create to do, this is still wrong though. So how did this work in status? Field dot string. Okay. And then dot update. And then I still need a revert function on the database, and basically revert just lets us like take it back. So we'll do database dot schema dot schema dot to do's dot delete the field name visibility, because you want to delete what you just added, so it'll be the same there. Now I think this is how it works, and close this. And then I need to run the actual migration. So to do that, that's in configure here. And we can just do app.migration.add migration to, what is it? What am I adding? It'd be add to do visibility. There it is. And now we should be able to Swift run. Let's see. So in your country, most people use Android and maybe 6% use iPhone. So there isn't much iOS jobs, but in the same time, there isn't much iOS developers. But when you think about it, 6%, 45 million. So yeah, I mean, that's still a lot of people, like in the aggregate number. Like, yeah, iPhones definitely have a smaller market share. Like that's always been the case though. Like, right? Like I'm not making that part up. So if we go, iPhone versus Android market share, like sure. So like iPhones clearly, I mean Androids clearly have like the larger market share. Like you can see there's 70, like it's about a 70-30 split almost. So like the number of Android user phones there are is greatly higher, or Android devices there are is greatly higher than the iOS devices. Like that is just a straight up fact. But companies are usually more willing to put in money to the iPhone because they know people who buy iPhones will generally spend more money. So there is a market because people use them, people buy them. I mean, I buy a new one every year. My wife buys a new one every year. We know friends who also upgrade every year. And yeah, companies like Uber and Uber Eats, are they using native tech? I think so. I know Airbnb is, like they just switched from React Native to native tech. I believe that the other company, I believe that there's probably pieces that are and aren't. It honestly, like it just varies from company to company on what they're really interested in doing. All right, cool. So let's go into here, into our, yep. And we have visibility now. Let's just make it all. I think it said all, right? Yeah, visibility all. Cool. And we can save it. But yeah, so we added, so that migration worked because it prepared the migration and it finished it. So it added the add to do visibility, and at the end here, there's the to do visibility. So that's great. Now in here, so this is Paw. This is kind of like an alternative to like Postman, basically. Hold on one sec. Cool. That's not for me. Cool. So yeah, this is like it lets me like inspect routes, kind of like a Postman alternative, basically. What music is this? Yeah, it's Epidemic Sounds, actually. So if you, it's epidemicsounds.com. I highly like it because it's like, I pay like $15 a month. It's royalty-free music. And I get access to their whole library, and they have quite a bit in here. I just really like the video game music, the Technic stuff. So that's what I do. So let's go ahead and update this, and then we can hit it from a URL, basically. And then I think from here, we can actually probably build the Mac app. I apparently had done a lot more than I thought I did on this app. So let's add a thing here, and we'll call it visibility. And let's say all. So if I hit go, ooh, wrong thing. Love the video game music as well. Sounds so good. Nice. Thank you. It very much does. I appreciate it. Server column completed on of relation to Jews does not exist. Oh, why? Why does that not exist though? Oh, does it not exist in... Hold on. Oh, totally does not exist. You are correct, server. So that column that I have inside the... Where is it? The to-do here totally does not exist. So I have this completed on. I forgot to add it. So let's go get that in this. I really don't want to make a new migration, so let's we'll do this the hard way. Let's do completed on dot date time. We'll erase this. We're gonna do we'll just start from scratch basically. So inside here we should be able to, oh no, dismiss. Don't do my queries, please. I always don't do this in the right order and then it messes everything up. Not drop table. Why can we not drop? Oh, because of the statuses, I think. No, we're just not. It's not gonna do that. I always forget how to drop tables. So actually, what we're gonna do is stop this, and we'll just kill our Docker container, basically. So inside Docker, let's just cancel, stop it. I think this is all I need to do. Remove. And then we should, I think it's just a Swift run command at this point. But don't hold me to that. It might not be a Swift run command. Let's find out. I might have to still make a whole new container. I just don't remember. I don't think it's that easy. I think I still need to run like a Docker container. This is the part that I always forget how to do. How do you actually like run it? Server should be starting. Cool. Xcode. Custom working directory. So cannot find add to visibility and scope. That actually makes perfect sense why you can't, because I don't need it. And also, since we started over, let's just go fix that status to also do the same thing. Copy, paste up here. We don't need to update. Oh, let's get rid of it. Just because I don't want this to clutter. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want it to clutter up, to be honest, like clutter everything. Oh, and then whenever I want to do this, Docker Compose build. No, Docker Compose app. This one. All right, so it has like a basic, we should be running the Docker container. Cool, so Docker itself is running. So let's quit that. And let's run it again. Wait, no, stop that. And then let's run the Swift server. Now, basically in this Docker file, this Docker Compose file came with the Vapor install when I did it. And it came with a bunch of commands already. So like and I think these commands are built into Docker specifically. I could be wrong there. So again, I'm learning as I'm going. So y'all are along for the ride. Docker Compose build, Docker Compose app. So this would start the app. Build images is like when you're ready to actually distribute the app. Run migrations happens when you want to start, when you like have migrations to run specifically, but you haven't like run the, I don't know. I don't know why I wouldn't just build the thing, but yeah. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. Apparently though, I could do like a add -v to start. Discard. I am not sure that it did what I needed it to, what I wanted it to do. Let's try this again. Table plus. And it did not do what I wanted it to do. So let's figure out why. I just wanted it to like kill my database. Okay, so what if I actually just kill the database here? Oh, cascade. Okay, well, we'll just do this then. I don't know. And then we'll delete here. I think if I run it again now, we do a Swift run. And it should do everything again. Whoops. Let's refresh. There we go. Now we have all the things. And we have all the statuses, projects, all that good stuff. So let's create a to-do status first. This should. Cool. It said 200 okay. So we sent a status basically. And if we go in here, we have this in progress status, and it's given a description, tasks that are in progress. Very, very descriptive here. And the status equivalent of in progress. So that lines up to that enum. So now if I do a project, yeah, let's just, I think project's fine. It sent a project, it posted the project, and it also sent a get, no. This fetched the projects, my bad. Let's create a project. So post is to create the project. Properties, project status ID, foreign key. So there was an error, insert or update on table, projects, foreign key violates that. Did I do the right key? Probably not. And let's just make sure it's the right key also here. Let's try this again. Okay, so now that I updated my key, we should be able to forward it, and there you go. We were able to send a project. Projects here, there's no description. Awesome. Now the to-do, which was the one that failed last time. What's wrong? Insert or update on the table to-dos violates the foreign, oh, the project doesn't have an ID. This is probably actually why I chose not to restart all the time. Project ID. There we go. Send. There we go. Now it's okay. So if I go in here, we have this to do. The completed on is null because it's not completed. Then we have all of these awesome things filled in. I don't know why it says backlog, but that's fine. This is a new to-do. Okay. Well, this looks like it's actually working. And then we can do a request that's going to get back our to-dos. Title, ID, belongs to a project. So this looks like it's great. So I think actually we're pretty much in a good spot to where we could probably start on like the Mac OS app part of it. Let me see if I have I need to actually figure out what that looks like. So let me see if I actually have drawings real quick of what I want that to look like. I am very much a person who doesn't have to get it all done from the beginning, if that makes sense. So I don't need everything in the back end to be 100% done to start the app part, because like when I start the app part, it could influence like what I want to do on the back end, like data wise. Sure, get rid of them. What am I working on? The working in progress app. Fun fact. I have almost nothing, but I have something, so that's cool. So I'll share what I have real quick. So what I have is I'm using this this is called the app. This app is called Mockup. It's a pretty cool iPad app that you can use to draw like wireframes and such. So there's the sign up, and then this is all I have is like the list and stuff on what to do. So I think that's a pretty good place to start. We actually we can do this and we can do that. And I think that's like what we can do for now. So we can get started and start to see stuff like flow in and out. And then of course there'll be like more features and stuff to add, but like, why don't we do that? So I'm gonna close that. Open recent. No, it's not recent. Open. I don't need server. I need the app. All right, so now we get to actually build the Apple app, right? My Mac. So we're gonna start. Also, another reason why I really want to build my own app is because I do want it to work on my phone. So I want it to be like phone compatible, but we're gonna start with a good Mac app first because I think a Mac app is actually where this is gonna be used the most. Like I could see myself personally using it the most on a Mac. And then a good Mac app scales well to a good iPad app. And then your phone app can kind of do whatever you want it to do at that point. At least that's the theory of like SwiftUI, right? So I don't think there's actually anything in here. Like if I were to run it, I think we're just going to get like text hello world. And we'll start doing this like by itself. Yeah, so we just have hello world with a little accent. Fun fact, I don't do much, not fun fact, as I've said, I don't do much like Mac development here, so this is all kind of newish for me. So it's going to be a good time. Let's scale this down. I'm going to drag this over here so I can see it. I also forget on YouTube that there's not as many windows that I have to keep open. To be honest, like there just isn't. Cool. Let's get this written though. So this is like the fun, like Swift, like to me, this is more of the fun part because we get to work on the what the UI looks and feels like. But basically, this is the app itself is it's a navigation view controller here. We have the main window, the content, and then the details. So the details are going to be placed on the selected project, or if there's a task selected. The question is, do I want to like follow not best practices, but do I want to use the TCA for this? Can I use TCA on a Mac? I'm almost positive I can, but let's make sure. Let's see what happens. TCA for short is a library for building applications in a consistent and understandable way. With composition, testing, and ergonomics in mind, it can be used in SwiftUI, UIKit, and more. So I think I can. So I think this might be the way to do it. And the only reason I really like building in the TCA, well, I like using the TCA for a few reasons, but my main reason is because I really like being able to control. I really like the idea that everything goes into like a model class, basically. And that's like where you do all your logic in, or like in this case, a store is what it's called. But yeah, so I think that's what we're going to do, to be honest, is we will insert this. Let's grab it though. So let's add it to the package. Streaming to YouTube is so nice compared to Twitch. Yeah, it actually is. It's like just from like a streamer ergonomic like standpoint, it is way nicer to do a YouTube stream than Twitch. Like I don't, because like all my comments and such are here on my like eCam, I don't even have to have another like YouTube window open. Basically I just check it to make sure it's still running. Like, but I do like all the fun stuff. Ooh, but apparently I am lower than the average bit rate right now. So I don't know. I say that and then like it's like, ah, just kidding. Oh, that's cool. You can do closed captions. That's neat. Okay. Peter, you haven't heard of the composable architecture? I know. I say that shocked because I know you pop into my streams from time to time. But basically what the composable architecture is, just to give it an overview, and there's lots of great resources on it. I haven't dove in to try to write my own resources because I'm trying to understand how to use it at the same time. But what it is, it's like a Redux style library for for Swift projects. So iOS, macOS, tvOS, watchOS. And what I mean by Redux style is it starts at the top and then it scrolls down. Oh, you thought it was a library called TCA. Oh, no, it is not a library called TCA. I think it's called Swift Composable Architecture. I think people in our community just shorten it to TCA for the composable architecture and they call it that. But yes, so it is just that, TCA. I've been quite enjoying the idea of that. So that's like, it's been in my to-do box. It's been in my not to-do box, but it's been what I don't know. I've really liked it lately. I'm picking up a lot of like, I think good habits from it, like keeping things clean and stuff, but like I could also not at the same time. You're so old and out of date. Nah, you're not old and out of date. Stuff pops up. You need to spend more time learning. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I also need to spend more time learning it. It's the point-free subscription is one of the best subscriptions I have, and I got work to now pay for it, and it's great. But basically, like I said, it's a Redux-style state management library, so you handle all your state separately from your views, and then you can observe basically those states to there, and it works quite well. I mean, I've enjoyed it. It keeps things organized. Now, a big part of like the TCA though, TCA style architecture, not a big part, but something that the point-free people recommend is to use packages, like Swift packages, to actually compose your app so that you're not like just dealing with that project file, and then you're also like, I don't know, things are pretty isolated. It forces you into a more isolated state, I believe. So I also need to make that decision on whether I do that or not. I think if I do that, it actually does make it a little bit easier for, it makes it a little bit easier if people actually want to like contribute to the app, because both of these apps are actually being worked on GitHub. They don't have like contribution files or anything, so like I'm not expecting people to contribute while especially I'm building it from scratch. But if people wanted to, like if I'm in a decent enough space in like Hacktoberfest in October for Hacktoberfest, like I could open it up and stuff like that. MVC. Oh, that's so old school now, Peter. At least get to the MVVM side of things. But yeah, so that's the case here. I think I am going to go with the packaging because then you don't have to deal with the Xcode projects like merging in and out. And I've heard it also makes it be a little easier to do like project dependent stuff at that point, but I could be wrong. So I'm not 100% sold that that's what I need to do. Let's see. Okay, so if you have a single application target that needs access to the library, then add it directly to the application. However, if you want to use this library from multiple Xcode targets or mix Xcode targets and SPM targets, You must create a shared framework that depends on the composable architecture and then depend on that framework in all your targets. So doing it that way makes it seem like a lot harder. So I wonder if for like right now, I should at least just like do it normally. So the example demonstrates Can we go back? Wait, where'd it go? Hold on. Tic-tac-toe. Because then they have like this app, which just has the root view and the tic-tac-toe app. And then they have tic-tac-toe, which has like all the sources and stuff, which I actually like. This is what I really like the most of. So I think that's what we're gonna do. But like, do I have this on my computer to open? Sometimes I have stuff on my computer already and I don't need to download it. Sometimes I don't. Ooh, could you imagine I hit delete directory? I don't think I can just hit delete directory, but could you imagine? Because I definitely could not. Cool. So that's going to be down here. Let's split it. Whoops. Developer. I guess I can move these away from secret so you don't see anything else that's secret if I'm going to do this in person. But that's not where I wanted to go. Anyway. Let's clone this repo just so I can get access to their example and make sure that I'm doing things like they suggest. Because sometimes that's an issue where I don't do things as they suggest. While that's cloning, it's going to take a little while. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'll be right back. Just give me like a minute or two to get my stand hour. All right, I'm back. And it's done doing that. And it's done cloning, which is great. Cool. So let's examples. Tic-tac-toe. Open that up. I just want to make sure that like I think I'm doing what they're doing. What they say. Oh, but I don't know if this will actually tell me that I'm doing what I need to do. Oh, interesting. So inside here, it actually depends on just app SwiftUI. And then, so from the root view, it imports the composable architecture. How does it import the composable architecture without knowing about it? Is that because, is it able to know about the composable architecture because it's inside its own thing? Oh no, because if you're importing via the app UI kit, like app kit, app core, whatever it is, like, and it's dependent on composable architecture, you should be fine. I think is how that works. I think that's right. And then you start with a store. Up here. Okay. I'm almost positive I got this. I think I know what we're doing. So package, it's dependent upon composable architecture here. And if you look at app SwiftUI, it depends on app core only, which is what's composable architecture here. All right, I can do that. That seems easy enough, I say before I get started. So let's do a new package. Secret. Y'all get a look into all my secret stuff. Let's add. I would like to move that at some point though, because now I'm doing stuff in here and I don't need y'all to see all my secret stuff. Cool. So inside work in public. App core, right? Well, I closed it and I'm like, what do they call you theirs? I didn't close it. Haha, it's right here. Not that naming really matters too much, but it matters enough. And then I think it's like, I can just do app core, right? In here, sources. Well, it imports app SwiftUI. But that imports app core. So let's just do app view. I think we'd probably do the best. I mean, yeah, it's fine. What do we want to call this though? This should probably also be called work. We'll just call it whip. Cool. Products whip. Makes sense to me. I did not add it to my repo. Hold on. I said that it would be in there. I am really excited for tonight because later tonight we're going to go see Ant-Man and that's just going to be fun. I think I should be able to just click and drag this in here. There we go. Sweet. All right, so we have whip. It exists. Let's add it. I mean, we can't really add anything, but let's, in the package, let's get the composable architecture actually added in here. So if we scroll down here, actually, we just need the URL. Oh, you know, we want 051. So let's do .package URL quote version 0.51.0. Is that right? Yes. Cool. and it's going to download all these things, which make my life pretty easy, to be honest. All right, so let's do a new folder here called app view. App view, app view. And because we're inside these packages, we actually have to like be worrisome about our public and stuff. Init, there's nothing in here to init right now. Cool. Now let's do this. Let's go into package and we have this indicated here. Let's add our library. Again, I like going by examples, just making sure they're doing what I think they're doing. So yeah, they just do libraries. So it looks like there's an app cores, which have all the different core in them. So that's just like a reducer. Okay. And then there's a view that has the store. So in theory, I would have a new folder here as well. Not in theory, I'm going to. App core, which gets me a file. So app core is going to be where all these live. And fun fact, I actually have a TCA store here. And let's call it app core. It's going to be upset because it hasn't been made. There's no composable architecture. So this should be read soon. Yeah. So our app core is basically going to be the start of the app state. So all the app state that needs to be in app core will be here. So basically if there's anything like global to the app, so like navigation where there's different like views and stuff, like that should probably live in app core. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a make these two libraries now. App core, app view. And now inside these targets down here, we'll do a dot target. Whoops. And it needs dependencies because we need to depend on these packages. So I think it's composable. They did not make it easy for me to know what to import. They're not the same, so we're just gonna copy paste. There are no more placeholders, so that's fine. Thanks for explaining why you are organizing the code so many skip that. It's true, yeah. A lot of people really do like skip that part. So yeah, I will definitely try. If I do something and you have questions, like feel free to also interrupt me and ask. But basically, like the gist of why you split up your view, I'll also like iterate like why the views and the cores get split up and why it's doing this also though. So number one, I don't like working inside the main project file is the main reason, because that Xcode project file is horrendous to work with. Like you get merge conflicts and all that kind of stuff. And whenever I try to use two computers, so like if I were to ever do this on like my Mac Mini, I get merge conflicts just with myself. So I try not to do that. So I like to work in Swift packages because then it's not as, you don't have that issue. Now splitting it up into app core and app view. So the point free people are very particular about wanting like modularization. So like each feature should basically be in its own library, and it keeps everything nice and clean in that way. And it forces you to kind of think like, does this actually belong here? How are we going to move it? That's actually why I like to do it, because it makes me think through like what I actually need in here. And it also helps make things a little bit more like workable, I would say. What are we? I bet that's not actually an issue with what it's saying. It's actually probably just mad that I don't have the other target in here. Target name, app view, dependencies, and this one's just going to be app core. I know, everything is wrong, isn't it? So now we have app view, app core, and then work in progress. This main app up here isn't necessary, like this main library, this whip library, because you basically just call it whatever like your package is. It's just like what's named there. So like even if we go inside their example, they called theirs tic-tac-toe. They don't have a tic-tac-toe folder. And you can actually see even in their package.swift file, they don't have a tic-tac-toe. What I've done before is instead of not having it, like, if I'm not using composable architecture where everything's like all the packages are linked together, or I'm using the packages for libraries that don't really require code. So like a core, like making a core data library, making a, navigation controller library, so that that's not all, that's logic that kind of doesn't have to live with the code base. It can kind of just live in its own package that, like, again, it's less touching that project file. I've actually used that that like default target, so this one here, to actually import all the dependencies that are possible, and I can just add that one library then to my target, to my app, like inside the work in like the app file, app target. So it's just a little bit easier for me, like, so I don't have to go and remember to add like all the different packages. There we go. So we are running now. Did I? No, this is right. Target, app view, reference and product, app view could not be found. Well, considering they're not referenced in each other, that would be hard. App core is here. App view. Anyway, let's just try this. App core, import composable architecture. Cool. And then this has to be public, I think, as well. And these errors are happening because you need macOS 10.15 or newer. So what we can do is actually on the package itself is just declare the platforms. And I think actually, let's do this. .13 is actually the latest, right? Like that's like the version I'm running. More info? No. Where does it tell me? Is it about? Yeah, 13.1 is what I'm running, so that's fine. Okay, cool. So that should be enough here, I think. Compiling for macOS 13, but the module has a minimum deployment target of 15. Shouldn't that be okay then? So now this should be a-okay. And yes, we cannot find this. App view here. Cool, we're back. We're great. We're good. If you ever get things that are stuck, so like you notice that we can build. So like if I were to, it's not going to build here. Oh, it's going. It's thinking. So if I were to build this preview, obviously we are building, I say, as I wait patiently for it to fail. Awesome. I love when I miss my mouth with coffee and get it all over me. It's not all over me, but still. Cool. So you can see, like, we can build. It's successful, but these 2 errors are stuck. You can't see it in my screen because my screen isn't big enough, but if you go into the Xcode toolbar and you hit product, there's a clear all issues button. Hitting that makes the issues go away. And if they're really issues, they'll come back, I've found. So that's what I kind of do to avoid them. Cool. So let's start off strong here. So we need a store of, because this is a composable architecture thing. So with composable architecture, you have to have a store to use. Where did my art go? I really like their documentation. Like, they've done a really good job, I would say, with this stuff. Drag that a bit further over. All right, so when you're declaring the view, you need the store, and you need to declare what the store of is. So we'll do app core. Return initializer. That's great. So we'll pass in the store here. Hello, Khalil. How's it going? What's up? Hello, hello. Hey, Weiroo. What's up? Other platform this time, huh? Yeah, store, right? Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. We'll find out if that and it works. But yeah, how's it going? What's up? That's not what I want to do, actually, to initialize that. But I do need to pass it in. So basically, like, we could make this app core, like, store. Like, we would probably structure the store, like, in the main app. And then we'll move it to, we'll get it to go into the packages. We'll pass it into the packages. So that's what we're trying to do here. Streaming on YouTube now. On Fridays, I'm trying something different. Also, like, I really want to build this app from start to finish that I'm working on YouTube. Like, I want to make it like a series. So every Friday, almost every Friday, I pop on, I work for a few hours, get further in the app, or I talk to people, whichever. Either way, it's a win for me. I like doing it. And then that's kind of it. That's kind of what happens. Store of app core. That should be fine. But yeah, so that's the plan here. I'm still gonna keep sometimes on Twitch because, like, my Twitch streams are still gonna be like whatever I want to work on at that time. There's nothing really consistent about it. But my YouTube streams are gonna be really dedicated towards working on the work in public app that I'm working on, my project manager type app. Because also, are you even a developer if you haven't attempted to build your own project manager? A project management app? Because basically I'm just building a replacement of Linear or Jira in the long run, or GitHub stuff, if you want to say it that way. But yeah. Okay. But yeah, so no, not fully on YouTube. I also have this YouTube channel that I want to do stuff with, basically. So I just need to wait. I just need to do it. I'm really bad at making videos right now. So my opinion is I could just do this and put videos on it and like this has more. This is fine. Like it does what I need it to do. But yeah. Everyone should build a replacement for Jira. I definitely agree. I think we should. I think we should all just start building replacements for Jira and see how it happens. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? right, so our state is going to be appcore.state. There's really no name right now. And then we'll just do, is it just appcore? I think that's right. Yeah. Cool. So there's really nothing inside this core, app core. It's just the basic structure of what the composable architecture requires for this reducer protocol. There's nothing in here to do. It's just kind of, like I said, it's just the basic structure. Let's go ahead and get this added into the main app though. Frameworks. App view. Oh, just something terrible, like increased productivity and a tool that makes sense and is easy to manage. You would hope. You would hope that's what would end up happening. Like, that's what I'm hoping it ends up happening for mine. But we'll find out. We will see how this goes. There it is. So really, I could just import here. Import app view. Do I need to import everything? Maybe. Hold on. Probably app view store. Store. And yeah, we'll need to do a... I think I need to do like all of this. And then fix here. Initial state is going to be appcore.state. Reducer is just going to be appcore. That should be it. Am I really missing a parenthesis? I sure am. There we go. Cool. And just to prove that we're now inside here, let's add this as a hello app. Command B, and let's build it and see what happens. And then we can start, there we go, hello app. So we're inside our package. So, cool. Now that we're inside here, we really don't even need to touch the project file as much, to be honest. Like, that project file is basically just launching inside this, like, into the app itself. And all the logic's going to be handled inside the project, inside this package from here on out. Which I love the idea of. If you're a longtime follower of me, you'll know that I am a very big fan of these micro app architectures. And I think this works quite well in that case. I still, at some point, my goal is to figure out how Toast works with composable architecture. I was getting some weird results, but I think I was also getting some weird results because of how I've been importing things. So we'll see. Cool. So inside here, like I said, so in this mock-up that we have for my replacement of project management, we have the 3 tools here. So these are really just split view controllers. So let's do this. Let's put it inside a navigation view controller. Navigation split view. And yeah, it's going to be all 3. So projects go here. You know, I don't actually know if it makes sense for projects to go there. I just know I work on 8,000 projects out in the open, so it made sense for me. But it might not. At the end of the day, we might have to put other things there besides projects, but this is like a good start, in my opinion. All right, so we have task, project, and I actually do want .all. I think that makes the most sense. What's wrong? What did I do? Oh, I need another parenthesis. Apparently I don't like having parentheses. Cool. So this makes sense to me. So you have the list of projects that will live here. We have tasks and then a project and then like project info basically. Yeah, so to me it makes sense to have be able to have multiple projects here that are out and about. Maybe it'll just be project and then I'll put like versions here. Like there's definitely ideas that could go around there. I like the idea of having being able to have multiple projects though. Cool. So we need to be able to add a project for shoresies. How would one add? I realized I didn't actually like figure out where to add a project. So I'm thinking that the project, like there should probably be a plus button. Let's see, what does things do? It's not the best tool, but it's a tool to go here. So they have an add new button at the bottom, which could totally work. Like, that makes sense to me. I know I had the like person's name and stuff here, but like that could go up at the top or on the right. I think it's pretty common in apps now. So yeah, let's do, let's change this to a VStack. Actually, do I want it to be a VStack? I think so. So VStack, and then we'll do a HStack. No. I say I think we'll do an HStack. I'm not completely sure yet. Spacer down there, add project. But okay, so I also another package that I really have to have on all my projects is this one called SF Save Symbols. Like, I know it's really dangerous to like add symbols into your app. I mean, to add like dependencies into your app. And I already have a really big one with composable architecture. But I really like this one in particular as well because of the fact that you can now, that it'll gives you the type safety to SF symbols. So instead of having to like do strings around c.circle, you can literally just do image system circle dot c circle. So we're gonna go ahead and add that to my package as well. And like, you know, there's nothing wrong with with doing it the other way. Like, with using, yeah, from 4.1.1. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to just like type the strings in. It's easy for me to do it this way. And then this is going to just go into app view as dependency, to be honest. Like, there's no reason it should only be in the views. Oh yeah, 100%. You are totally right, Peter. Like, not having to use strings in Swift is the actual true way to win. In theory, you should be able to just do something like this, I believe. And let's see if it works. Yes, 100% though. I import SF. Maybe it didn't work. But yeah, I love not having like, I love not dealing with like with not type safety. I love having to deal with type safety. Oh. And what's better is when they do this for me. Like, type safety for the win, always. Cool. And that should come... Oh, no. Xcode crashed. Awesome. Well, I don't... Thanks. I love when Xcode crashes. Unknown package name in dependencies. Are you kidding me? That's literally right here. Build succeeded now, so let's try again. Missing package product app view. I don't understand what you're missing from it. I guess because it can't be found because there's like supposedly an issue inside my package manager, my package thing here. I love when all I have to do is actually be more specific. Totally makes sense. And app view. It's a little bit quicker if you, so tooltip, or tech tip, I don't know, tip. If you're using packages, it's usually quicker if you are if you're only building the package that you're actually using and not building all the other packages at the same time. So if you were to do work in public, it actually encases all these packages, so it takes a little bit longer. And there's a little bit extra stuff that like it does that if you just go for app view, since we're just building views and we're not like testing the whole app flow, like it should be a little bit quicker to do it this way. Cool. So image system symbol dot plus. Check that out. And this probably shouldn't, it should be a button. Dot frame, max width, dot infinity. And then we have this. So this is where we start getting into some composable architecture stuff because we have this button action. So all I'm going to do for now though is when you need to perform logic inside the app, you need to actually do it inside the reducer of the composable architecture. So in this case, we have this enum action, and how you declare it is when something happens inside your app that you need to do logic for, you declare it as an action, and then inside the reducer, you actually do the logic. So as the action first, case add button, add project button tapped. And I do really long names because I like to be very specific as to where things are going. Return.none. So this return statement is just like, what are you returning out of? Like, are you returning another like action to do? That kind of thing. So for right now, we're returning nothing. Like we don't have to do something else after this basically. as a very high level. But what we do need to do here is we'll just print a add project. So we'll need to go implement it, but for right now, we're just gonna hit add project, right? So now in this action here, we need to access this store. So the only way you can really access store inside using the composable architecture is by using this, We're gonna just go for it. I don't quite know what to call it yet, but it's called with view store. We specify the store that we want to observe, so that's just gonna be store. And what do we want to observe? You can be very specific on what you want to observe, but for me, we want everything because this is the high level of the app. And then you have the content. So this is gonna just be view store in, and then your code is now actually all of this that we already wrote. So let's close that out. And boom, we're back. We should be back in action. This should go away. Cool. So what are we going to do? So to access that action, we call viewStore.send, and you can see we can send an action now. So add project button tapped. So if I were to actually run the whole app, I don't think I'll get errors. Hopefully it didn't do anything like major. I think this is just a fake error. Yeah. All right, so inside here we have this add project button. When I tap it, you'll see that down here, oh, I don't think you can actually see the console. I think my screen's too large. There you go. I actually have it printed out add project. So there's no logic actually happening inside the view. It all happens inside these reducers. So you have this add project here. So this is where I would put the code to like, hey, we're going to like pop up like the little add window to add a project window, basically. And then there's that nifty little button. So let's get this. Let's go back into app view. Let's go back into working app view again here. And I should be able to open this canvas view again, and we can actually just run the app like expected. Cool. What I realize is I probably want label. And then we can get rid of this part. And it should look the same. And let's I don't like it. I haven't quite figured out why I don't. I mean, I do know why I don't. I like this styling. There we go. And then let's align mint.leading. And it's not doing too much more because there's no space on the side. So let's do a dot frame. This is why the frame was there. Max width. Dot infinity. And I think, or not, that's fine. Can we then do a H stack and then put a spacer behind it or next to it, I guess? Spacer. There we go. And then we'll just do a dot padding. Whoops. Dot leading. It looks like it's in the exact same spot, but it definitely is not. 2.0. Cool. Now it's definitely not. Oh, but it needs padding underneath it. So that's just getting much, but that's what I like. So I guess this is what's happening. I actually think, hold on, I think it makes more sense that we'll do a Z stack. Let's put this H stack in here. Hold on, I'm thinking this might not be right. But then we'll drop a list. Because, right, you have to have a list of projects. Like, that's just what happens. Let's see. And then we'll do Z-stack alignment dot bottom. There we go. And then we can just do a dot padding dot bottom. Nice. And now it's just a little bit up there. But the only thing I'm gonna do is just apply it to this H stack here, because then we can put a background on that H stack specifically. Like we can put like a background if we wanted to on it at that point. But I think that's like good enough, to be honest. Like I'm under this impression that like this app just needs to be like more of like a good enough. Let's move to the next step. So the first thing we need to do is actually, now we have to get into more logic, is to get the API going, and let's write an API layer to fetch the projects and to make we need to make a project, and we also need to fetch the project. So there's like a couple different things that can go on here. We can add a new project, like keep going with the UI work, or we can integrate into the target's missing it. I think I completely missed that text, Peter. I'm sorry. Maybe I completely missed that chat. So like if you remember what that chat message is about, I'd be super happy to go over it again. My chat did not scroll that I wanted to, like I wanted it to. Hold on. I think we can just pop out of the chat, can't we? Is that a thing? Live chat. Pop out. Yeah, I can. Oh, but it doesn't look good. No worries, just the error that is now fixed. Okay, cool. Awesome. Great. I'm gonna just pop out this chat then from YouTube instead of the eCam one, because this will actually stay scrolled now. Yeah, so we have these projects. So we can either keep going down the UI route or start integrating into the API. I think I'm gonna go down the UI route for two reasons. Well, for the main reason being that I need to stop in like 15 minutes so that I can like be a person before and go and do other things besides stream. So I think we'll just go the UI route to be able to add a project, because that's going to be what's necessary to be able to do this part. And then next Friday, we can integrate the API into adding a project. I think that's the way to go, at least. So the new project, I don't actually want that to happen in the app core logic. I don't believe. I think that would be a really big, like, not that it's a bad thing necessarily to do. I just feel like that's a lot of logic inside the app core, and the app core is already going to have a lot of logic. So the app core is going to have to deal with navigation between the three. It'll have to deal with, what else will it have to deal with? It'll have to deal with like login once we get to that. Maybe not login exactly, but it'll have to deal with a lot of different navigation stuff. And I might be building this too far up. Like I feel like there should be app view, and then there's like another view before you get to this part. But we'll have to figure that out as we get there. But yeah, so we're gonna worry about we're gonna just keep going. I'm gonna open their tic-tac-toe app though, just to see how this goes. What do they have in their app view? All their app view does is switch to different views. So I have a feeling that's what like mine is basically gonna do, but we'll probably get there when we do, when we need to. But we'll do a new game. We'll do like the new, we'll keep everything in a whole new project, in a new library. So we'll do a new folder called new project view. And it's going to be a SwiftUI view. Text, hello world. Let's go to package. And then we also need a new project core. So new folder. And then I'm almost positive like that what they do is what I'm going to do next. So inside package, everything else will all these core things will depend on either the composable architecture, the specific library that's needed, right? Yeah. Okay. But the view or view only depends on the view. I mean, on the core. Yeah. Okay, cool. That makes sense. This makes a lot more sense now. All right, so let's go get these. New project for package. Copy, paste. And let's do a new project. Sweet. I love multiple cursors. They just make things really easy. New project core, new project view. And I forgot a comma. That's why it's upset. And this needs there. It probably will need SF symbols. That's probably safe. And then I think app view. Is it app view that needs it? I think app view will need that core, but I just want to make sure I'm thinking right. So yeah, so it does need the core and then the views. So not that anyone asked or that it necessarily matters, but basically how I declare my dependencies is anything local goes on as one line or multiple lines as possible, and then it follows by dot products. So any libraries or targets that are inside the same package like get declared on like a single line, and then the products are all separate. I don't know. It's what I like. It's appealing to my eyes. All right, so in new project view, everything is. Oh, we gotta import SwiftUI. Yeah, it should be. Oh, I don't know why it said to import that, but that's fine. Totally should now. Great. But we should import new project core. And composable architecture. And this also needs to be public here. New project core dot state, and then new project core should be it. And we just can't find the preview because of this. I still don't know why it cannot find things. So basically everything is fine. I don't understand why it's this way, but it is. It's probably that way because I just copy and pasted things and it just didn't know. Okay, but here we are. So new project core. Basically we get to make a form inside this view, to be honest. Like that's what we're doing. Let's refresh. Let's go ahead and get our view store in before we like start with view store, observe. Do I need everything? I'm almost positive I do. All right, so let's get these filled out. Text field. We definitely want the project name, right? Where is my database? Well, this will be fine because this tells me what all I need to fetch with it. So I need to send a title and then an ID. Like it's super easy. And then I guess a status. So let's do a, I don't even know if I have to send, I think I do have to send an ID. Where'd the other Xcode go? Server, come here. Project. It's funny because I've been working on to-dos. Yeah, so I need to send an ID. Well, it looks like I could not send an ID and let that be gotten on the thing, which is nifty. Or I could send a title, and I could just send a title. Let's go into, where is my controller? So my to-do controller here specifies the post. I use the create method. So create, I basically just send the request of the to-do.self and try to decode the to-do.self. So what is in the init, I think is actually what I go by. Yeah, so I should just send a title. I could send a description if I wanted. I for sure just need a title though. A project description. Oh, I should send, so basically I need to send, I think think everything that we see inside this init. So the ID, title, description, anything that's not nil, basically, I have to send. So title, description are the main things. So now we need a binding. This is again where the composable architecture comes into play. So let's go here. We can either create a binding. There's a couple different ways we could do this in the composable architecture. I'm going to use their cool binding state. I just always have to look it up. And I get lost from my screens. So let's go here. We should be able to find binding. I just need examples. I don't think this is right either. Reducer protocol implementation. Nope. Equatable conforms to working with SwiftUI bindings. That's what I was looking for. So inside the state, we could do these cool little @binding states just because we're going to be doing a lot of binding with a form. So it gets really annoying to do normal things. @binding state. Public var project title. We'll just call it title, actually. Well, should I line it up with the name? We'll just... String. @binding state. Description. And then @binding state. Well, we shouldn't really set the status. The status should be set with the, like, can be set afterwards. I think that's totally fine. So title and description really are the only things we need. Now inside the action though, we need to make an action a bindable action. And then we need to adjust our switch. So instead of doing this public func reduce, we'll change this to a private. And we'll do this combining reducer option thing that they have. Var body. It's going to be some reducer protocol. State, action, binding reducer, and then we can also call it reduce afterwards. I don't think that's right. I think oh, how do I do that? We're gonna open up a... Was it this? I think it was this one. reduce, and then pass in self.core. Okay, so it should be like reduce and then self.reduce. I think is what I need. No parentheses though. And then it still needs to be exhaustive. Wow. We can do return.none still, because it should be picked up by the top one. So I believe this is the proper protocol to do this with. Method reduce matches. Oh, let's do what if I change it to core? There we go. All right, it was upset at the public part of that. I mean, of the function name. So now we have these bindings for states and such made. So all we need to do is use this case path that's built into the text field. So we can do viewStore.binding with this key path dot title. And I think we have a project name. Ah, this is interesting. So now we have that. Cool. Previewing a SwiftUI is like Mac app is weird. So now we have that part. Like I said, we're not gonna get too far into this. Let's get the next one. There we go. How do I add like a label to a text editor? Do I still have to build that myself? Because that's silly. But we'll just leave it like this then. I think that's probably all we need for right now. That's basically it. Project name, project description. You always just add a text, so like it's in the H. So it'd be like this. Like it'd be like HStack. And then a text editor. Like that? That looks weird. I'm guessing it's gonna look extra weird because how would I drag? I can't get this description over to the left because that's part of the form label because we're on Mac. Huh. Odd. But good enough. We'll just stay with this for right now. I'm not too sold on it anyway. I need to go back and see what this actually looks like. And then let's do a button. And this can be viewStore.send.submit. Add project. I did and it made it too. It still didn't do it right. Add project button tap. It's fine. I think it should be fine. Case. Remind you to look it up. All right, I will. Sometime. And after this, I just want to see what it looks like, and then we'll have to call it a time. That should totally be done. Be good. Trailing closure past an argument, a parameter that does not. So confused. Like, is this a rule like in macOS that you can't put a button inside a form? Nope, totally can here. Weird. Okay. I was just hitting a weird bug. Alright, y'all. We're not gonna hook up the API today. This is it. So thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Unlike Twitch, these videos will not go away. They will stay. I started a playlist, so feel free, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed what you watched, there's a buy me a coffee link in the description. Be super appreciated, but like definitely don't feel like you have to. And with that being said, if you watched all the way this far, definitely hit the like button, and I will see you next week. Bye, y'all. Thanks, Peter. I'm glad it was fun. I'm glad it was good. I didn't do as much backend because I had a lot of the backend stuff already written, but I think next week when we debug some of this stuff and get the SwiftUI app going with it, it'll come together. We'll see it. We're gonna do them in tandem, so we'll see what happens. Again, thank you guys, and thank you all, folks. Thank you, people. I will catch y'all next week.